How do you feel you did, even with Devin and Joe and all those guys getting?
Yeah, I think obviously Waller's one of the best in the league for a reason. Overall, for the most part, I felt good. There's obviously a few plays you want to have back as a competitor and as a professional. And it's just something that come in and you learn from when you see it on film. A couple of little things you could do different to improve your outcome. But like I said, I'd like to have a couple back, but overall, I felt pretty good.
Joe, was the TD and then the 25-yarder, those are the two plays you're talking about?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Can you kind of go through those, what you saw, what you would have preferred to do, or what you'll do next?
Yeah, I mean, the touchdown, I was outside leverage and just got to use my help a little better than what I did, and I just stay outside on the 7 route. And then the wheel, I wish I was a little faster to run with Waller on that wheel. I mean, it was a 4-minute mode. That one's a little harder because you're playing the run, got a run gap, you got a coverage responsibility, and they called the play to win the game, and they were able to execute.
Joe, nobody goes undefeated, but can that first loss be kind of a shock to the system, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been in very many successful environments in my NFL career, but you put in so much work in the off season, through training camp. You come in the season, like the amount of work you put in, you feel like you should be winning football games. And I think the first time you lose during the season, it's like a slap in the face because, I mean, obviously their team, they've all worked too. But you just got to you have to learn from it. NFL, like now we have 17 games. There's a lot of opportunities to learn and get better and win a lot of football games. And I mean, sometimes getting a loss out of the way early is a good thing because you get that bitter taste in your mouth. You don't want to taste it again.
Joe, you played with TJ and known him for a long time. I know every injury is different, but how resilient have you seen him be fighting through different injuries at different points in his career?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got to Wisconsin, or when he first got to Wisconsin, he was playing tight end. He had 2 or 3 knee injuries in a row, like 2 full years. And he just worked hard, got back. Obviously, he's built a heck of a career after that point. So he's going to do whatever he can to get on the field, and I've seen that since I've known him. And I trust he's going to be smart about his body, but he's also going to get out there and play because he's a competitor.
How different does the defense change when he's there and when he's not there? I mean, is there a discernible difference energy-wise in what you guys are able to do in the first half and the second half?
Yeah, I mean, when TJ's out there, the quarterbacks on the other team know they don't have a lot of time to read defenses or read coverages. Even if he hasn't had a successful rush on that side, they still feel him. So they're usually a little bit more hurried in their delivery of the ball. Obviously, when he's not in there, we still got a lot of guys behind him who are capable of rushing the passer, but TJ's TJ, so that's on their mind.
Joe, in the same vein, without Devin last week, how did that affect what you guys could do underneath schematically and just kind of the different defenses you can run with Devin? How different is it what you guys can do with the scheme?
We ran the same scheme because Devin was practicing all week and got hurt on Friday. So, I mean, we ran the exact same scheme as Rob and as Devin in, and I mean, Rob's always going to be ready to come in and play and do his part. You saw him flying around out there, hitting people. So, I mean, the schematics didn't change, and I mean, I expect them to stay the same no matter who's in. That's what Coach T just expects, next man up mentality. You get your opportunity, take it and run with it.
Do you ever hit a saturation point on that? I mean, there were points Sunday where there were 4 or 5 relatively unrecognizable numbers out there on defense.
Well, I was telling somebody last year at Jacksonville, I was the only guy who played. Me and one other guy played every single game. So there's definitely a point when you can, especially if you have a more veteran team and guys who are backing up who are veterans who can come in and there's not a discernible drop-off in production. But sometimes when you get a lot of young guys in there, and it reaches to a certain point where they're communicating with each other exclusively, things can happen. I'm not saying that happened Sunday, but that it can happen, especially in the NFL, especially when you're young and playing against some of the best in the world.
Joe, I know it's early in the week, but what are some of the things that you guys are looking at early with Joe Burrow and what the Bengals offense can do?
I think we're looking at Joe and Joe. Burrow and Mixon are the linchpins of the offense. Obviously, Joe Burrow's coming off his knee injury last year. He's not as mobile, I don't think, in the first 2 weeks as he was in college and coming in the NFL. But Joe Mixon's running hard, running downhill, and Joe Burrow doesn't have to move if Mixon's running for 100-plus yards a game. He can just play action pass, set up in the pocket, and throw it down to his a lot of weapons that they have.
When you give up a 61-yard touchdown with Peter Ruggs, and then you get a guy like Jamar Chase who has taken himself off the defense in week 1, how do you guys kind of do that? Because you also have a middle of the field threat like Waller, but it's Boyd versus Sweet. How do you guys kind of contend with that? Because it's kind of the same situation.
Yeah, you just have to know where your threats are and where they're lined up at every play. If you got a guy who can take the top off the coverage and he's lined up at the backside of 3-by-1, he's probably going to be running deep. He's probably going to be trying to take the top off. So And if you got similarly a guy inside like Boyd in the slot, you just got to know where he is. Is he 2, 3? Is he outside? You just know where your threats are, and you have to communicate pre-snap with everybody so we're all on the same page and we can be able to take that stuff away.
What kind of mood did you see from the guys in the first time you guys came back out of the game? I mean, were they angry? Were they frustrated? What was their emotions like?
I mean, I think everybody had a positive attitude. Everybody was, I would say, frustrated is probably more accurate than angry. Like, we felt that there were opportunities for us to win the game, and we just didn't execute well enough during the game. And I think on Monday when we came in, did our workouts, and we were able to watch film and digest it, you could feel the frustration, but also the sense of, like, we had that game if we just execute a little better in these key situations and take it as something to learn from and improve on this week going forward.
Not the Harper, not Waller play, but is the key to that maybe make them one-dimensional so they can't run a pass?
On the Waller play, you said?
The 25-yarder.
The wheel, yeah. I mean, I think they schemed that one up, knowing they were going to motion him over, be on a linebacker, and run him on a wheel. Is Darren Waller. So, I mean, if they're, I don't know, it was a 2nd and 10. I don't think that would have changed much. Yeah, I think they would still ran that no matter what, just because Carr knows him.
You've been in the AFC North enough to know what Joe Mixon brings to the table over the
Yep.
Browns. What about Joe Mixon makes him such a dynamic factor that you have to focus on and really key himself?
Yeah, I mean, Joe's a strong, confident running back. He's got the one-cut ability. He's got speed to take it around the edge. He does a very good job of setting up his runs. Got good jump cuts, and he likes to get out on the perimeter and use his strength and his size to his advantage against defensive backs. And as a defense, you really got to be alert to where he's at and what can't let him get going, because once he does, he's a very confident individual, and once you gain confidence and flow in a game, it's hard to stop that. Boyd? I mean, he's been a great player in the league for 5 years now. I mean, he's a really good slot receiver, and he's got good catch, contested catch. He's got good high-pointing catch ability. So he's a challenge in the slot, and he's somebody that we have to highlight this week going into the game as somebody to take away.
You don't have Tyson there anymore in front of you. Stewart's still out. It's a banged-up defensive line. How does that affect you guys at the second level when you don't have a space eater like Tyson there? You know, Bugs and Davis are obviously guys that are stepping in and they can make a play, but how does it affect you guys to not have a guy like Tyson?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are veteran defensive linemen who've played a lot of football, who understand their jobs and are very good at executing it. And when you're playing behind guys who are a little bit younger, who don't have that much experience, it's a little bit more on your plate. You got to come and earn your paycheck on the game. You got to be able to help them take off double teams when the offensive line's double teaming them. You got to react fast, be able to help them take it off and allow them to go make their plays too. So, I mean, sometimes with Tyson and Tua, they just blow up a play just because they feel like it. I feel like sometimes they're that good. And the guys behind them are going to do their job. And I know as linebackers, we just got to play off them. It's just new people to play off of. And you just got to understand that going into the game.
Kevin, you had sort of a period out there where you got a little physical during practice. That's not typical of you guys. Why did you guys feel the need to do that, coaching staff, you think?
We've really been doing that recently, so I mean.
During the week?
Yeah, I don't think it's nothing too different.
Does that work for you guys?
We always like to start the week off with some type of getting physical because we get used to it. You know, you don't want to have to warm up to the week.
Kevin, what's not happening in the run, up front in the run game?
It's always one thing that's messing us up. It could be O-line miss a block, tight end miss a block, somebody miss a hole, something. It's always some one thing, and when we get that one thing figured out, it's definitely going to be a great run game.
Kevin, Ben took basically all the blame after the game on Sunday, putting a lot of it on himself again today. Is that just him being a leader? I mean, what kind of conversations are you guys having with him about the struggles on offense so far?
I think that's definitely what a leader does, but it really is about all of us getting better. But, you know, we can just do what we can do and get better every week.
Ben talked a lot about playing for the guy next to you. When he takes 10 hits in a game, what conversations are you guys having as an O-line after a game like that? How frustrating?
It was definitely embarrassing. It's like we weren't noticing it during the game, and then when you rewatch it, and you're like, dang, I really didn't go pick him up like I was supposed to and stuff like that. So we know it's not going to happen ever again. So that was definitely our mistake.
Are there hits that you watch when you're rewatching film and you're like, oh wow, that was worse than I realized? Are there ones that jump out to you?
Yeah, I can say some of them. I didn't notice it till I watched it back. So that's just something I got to get better at seeing.
Talk about it being kind of one thing here and there. Is that something you kind of expect a little bit when you have a couple of rookies in the starting lineup?
We expect to be great. I mean, we can't have those mistakes. I mean, they don't care if you're a rookie anymore. They don't care if you started 16 games, 20 games. They expect you to provide us a chance, you know.
And like you said, you were saying the other day, it's about learning and experience. You guys are getting better with experience when you play together. What have you seen so far that gives you the idea that that's happening?
You know, definitely I can see it out of KG and Dan. I can see that them adapting, and they ask a lot of questions. They're smart. They adapt to the environment they're in. So I feel very confident in their ability.
Kevin, how much have you guys man blocked during games? And are you a better man blocking team right now as compared to some, in your opinion?
I couldn't tell you really. I feel like we're any better than. We might. Can't really say. I feel like we have some good plays in that regard, but I think we can do either way.
Can you be physical and be a zone blocking team?
Definitely.
The fourth quarter that Trey wanted, or anybody wanted for Trey. How have you seen him?
Say it again.
It wasn't the fourth quarter for Trey that he wanted, or that anybody wanted. The way he went out Sunday. How have you seen him respond to that adversity so far this week?
I mean, he's doing what he needs to do. I mean, it's nothing really changed between them. He just, he's sorry for what he did. I mean, it cost us a little something, but that's just not the person he is. So, nobody's holding anything against him.
In regards of not helping Ben up after some of the hits, was that brought to you by Ben, or was that the coaching staff watching the film telling you guys?
That's us watching film, whole line watching film. You see it, you just got to address it at the beginning of meetings and stuff during the week.
Not picking Ben up thing and the struggles with the hits, the Trey Turner thing. It seems like there's a lot of eyes on the whole line this week. You guys feel a little extra motivated?
I mean, that's always, we've been doubted since before the season started, so not too much more pressure than it was already.
Everything good with your ankle there, Kevin?
Yeah, just a little extra security.
You got basically five new guys up front. I mean, Chip's obviously playing in a different spot than he was last year. How do you allow that there's going to be growing pains to happen while also getting pissed off that it didn't go well right away?
Can you say it again?
How do you weigh? I mean, everybody knows it's going to take. Even Ben said it's going to take a while. There's going to be growing pains as we learn the offense, as these line gels. So he's expressing patience. At the same time, there needs to be production. So how do you sort of weigh the, hey, we screwed up, but this was sort of going to be. How was probably going to have to go all along.
You know what I'm saying? Just like I just said, they expect us to provide regardless. I mean, we can't assume that we're going to be bad or mess up. We got to assume that we're going to be good enough to get the job done. We weren't really banking on there being hard times, you know what I mean? We just trying to get it all together.
Along those lines, I mean, do you take it personally as no line when you have the 4th and 1 in the fourth quarter, you're trying to catch up and the punt team comes out there?
I mean, it's not our decision to make, but we would definitely like to be able to run that in that situation. But it's the coach's decision, so that's what we're going to do.